Members of both teams had come on the ground. Donger was representing the Tang sect, and she was competing against Shixing from the Sun Moon squad. Meng saw her and stated that she would have reminded Xing not to kill if she knew Wang Dong was coming from the Tang sect. It was the first round of the round robin. The referee warned them to be careful and try not to hurt others. Donger told him to cut the crap and not be partial or else he would regret it. The referee looked at her with anger. The game had started, and Xing's attack was very fast as it was expected from the Sun Moon squad. The referee was intentionally biased towards him as the combat had begun, and Donger was not even ready yet. He got ready with the high explosive bomb with tracking ability. Meanwhile, Yu Hao was under the heart of a parish specter. It was a kind of soul skill that could drive the inner mind into a special calmness and considerably increase the acuteness of awareness. But there was a weakness that he would not show perturbed feelings within a day and would just judge the problems based on reasons. Donger screamed at the referee to be careful and asked him to hurry up and move aside. Xing was coming flying towards him, and the referee started to run, wondering why he was being chased. Everyone in the audience started laughing, saying he looked embarrassed at being chased. The prince, who was disguised as a girl, talked to Princess Juzi to cancel the law enforcement qualification of that referee after the game was over, and called the referee an idiot. Juzi agreed with him. He asked her why her hands were cold and probed if she had a crush on that young guy from the Tang sect. He also commented that he was the most handsome man he had ever met. Juzi responded that maybe the game was so dramatic that she was being a little nervous. Juzi wondered if he was being jealous. The prince replied that he was a man too. How could he not be envious? He thought that how could his woman be disloyal to him, and that was unacceptable to him, even if it was just a thought. Juzi was glad that he was being jealous because of her, as it showed he cared about her. She told him that he didn't need to be envious of a girl. He speculated if she meant Wang Dong was a girl in disguise and inquired how she knew about it. She then reminded him that he once told her to investigate the Tang sect. That was when she got to know about Donger. He contemplated that she would definitely be pretty beautiful in women's clothes. Xing attacked Donger with the power of a high-explosive bomb that was extremely strong. Everyone in the audience thought that the game field was destroyed. Donger was standing very far away from him. He mocked her that just a few of high-explosive bombs had made her run that far and said that the distance was just right. He then took out his scarlet fire-heavy artillery and prepared to attack Donger with it. He attacked Donger with his weapon, and there was very strong lightning all around the arena. People in the audience thought that Donger must be dead, and no one had the courage to look at her. But it did not explode, and Donger caught the unstable cannon bullet by hand. All the members of the Tang sect applauded her, and she threw the bullet back on him, and he tried to save himself from the invincible shield, but could not stand it any longer. In no time, he admitted his failure, and the Tang sect won in the first round of individuals. Xing asked the referee if he was in his place, how impatient he would be. The referee responded that he would just try and he would know. At that moment, Xing fell on the ground. The referee went to check on him. His martial soul was broken and the vital force was quickly eroded as well. He told Donger that she had killed him. People from the crowd started calling her ruthless when they heard the news. The captain of the Sun and Moon squad went to Donger and questioned her for the murder of his member. She counter-questioned him if he had witnessed her killing him. She didn't know how he died. Meng went to the captain and asked if Shixing was suffering from an illness that he could not talk about, and took Donger's side, saying that she had not killed him. The captain got very angry and gave her a slap. He ordered her to shut up and said that her feelings were taking over her brain. He also asked her if she was speaking up for her enemy. He backed her off and went to the arena. He addressed Donger as Wang Dong and commanded her not to stop unless he was dead. She wondered if he was next onto the game or if he wanted to keep letting people die. It was the fifth soul skill of Luminous Butterfly Mistress and Luminous Mistress Appending. With the affinity elements characteristics of Luminous Mistress Appending, she was able to control the powerful fire attribute of the Scarlet Dragon Heavy Artillery Cannon bullet, letting them strike back, and therefore achieving victory. Yu Hao wondered how could Xing still be alive if the Scarlet Light in Butterfly Mistress had slashed his right arm bone, and the golden light of the Demon Breaker exploded at the last instant that was directly cutting into Xing's organs. For the second elimination battle, all the members from both teams were called on to the battleground. Donger told the referee to hold up and to look at the mess of the arena. She was confused about how they were supposed to fight there and recommended fixing everything up first. The referee yelled at her that he had the right to decide whether or not that battleground should be fixed in order to continue the match. Zhou Xing from Sun Moon Squad entered the arena and screamed at Donger that she had killed Shixing, and he wanted to bury her with him. He threatened her that he would definitely tear her into pieces and avenge Shixing. He took out his giant weapon that had multiple guns attacked. As he turned around to attack Donger, she disappeared from there. He started searching for her, and in that moment he heard her voice from his back calling him slow. He got so scared that he had already protected himself from the invincible shield. Everyone in the audience started to laugh at him and commented that there was no other way as the Soul Guidance Battery's angle was merely 180 degrees. He attacked her with the quaking bomb, and she broke it into pieces with her arm. Donger wondered if he was not afraid of his organs getting blown out that he was using a quaking bomb. She realized that his supreme shield had not completely disappeared yet. He attacked her with different rays, including paralyzing rays, decomposition rays, and freeze rays. His soul guide also attacked her with a high explosive bomb, a blazing bullet, and a shock bullet. He told her to enjoy the feeling of being torn into pieces. Everyone was scared for her in the audience, but she instantly teleported in front of him and was completely safe. She came with guillotine wings on her back that helped her in the quick teleportation and attacked his cannon fortress, and it was destroyed completely. The referee came in between and ordered her to stop. She asked him what he was doing. The referee responded that her opponent could neither fight back nor defend himself and said that he had the right to end it when one party could no longer resist. He then announced that Tang Sect had won the match. Right after that, Zhou Xing got up saying it was not over and attacked Donger. Yao screamed at Donger to watch out. He attacked her with the powerful decomposition ray that was able to decompose its target. He laughed at Donger and said to just wait to be torn apart. She was torn into pieces and everyone screamed out her name from the crowd. Just as everyone was about to rush to the arena, a ray of shot towards Zhou. It approached him in a blink without any hindrance. He immediately covered himself with the invincible shield. But at that moment, the time seemed to stop and a light beam descended from the sky, splitting the invincible shield. With no hindrance, the beam fell down on his head immediately. Right after that, Zhou blew up and died. Blood and body had splashed towards the spectator. The audience got curious about who could pierce through the invincible shield. One of the Sun Moon Squad members commented that it was the exchange student Huo Yuhao. He continued saying that he did it with his vertical eyes. Even though the distance was 100 meters, still it could pierce through the invincible shield to blow up the target. He felt threatened just by glimpsing at it. He wondered what Yuhao's current cultivation base was. All the members from the Sun Moon Squad started to yell at the Tang Sect, asking if they wanted to die and how they had dared to kill their man. They responded to who they were talking about and called Kaitu to teach them a lesson. But a barrier came in between the both teams that was a level 9 soul tool. It was Zheng Zhan who was the chief referee of that competition. He announced that whoever dared to act rashly would be disqualified from that competition. He slapped the current referee so hard that he went flying on the other side of the arena and said that breaking the law was unjust and partial. He also ordered him to go down and reflect on himself. Nanan came to Donger and queried if she was okay. She replied that she was fine, and it was just hurting her a bit. Her luminous mistress appending had blocked most of the attack. Yuhao went to the chief referee and asked him for an explanation. He told him that he witnessed what had happened and the incident was completely the referee's fault. He had dismissed him and would take care of the competition by himself from further on. But Yuhao did not want that answer and directly looked into his eyes. The chief referee realized that it had been a long time since someone dared to talk to him with that kind of tone. He explained to him that after the match, Zhou went on attacking Tang Sect members, and he deserved to pay his life for his actions, but he had already paid the price with his life. He also added that the problem seemed to be over with his death. Yuhao informed him that Wang Dong of the Tang Sect would return after a 15-minute break. Yuhao told everyone else to go back as that place was the Sun Moon Empire, and there was no need to waste time with them. He suggested settling everything in the match. Yuhao's cold eyes looked very strange to Donger. However, she was glad that he still managed to keep a cool head, otherwise she was not sure what would have happened. Yuhao and his team were all counting on second senior brother Kaitu in the next game, but Donger interrupted him saying that she was still capable of fighting. Yuhao told her to shut up and stated that it was too careless and contemptuous of her to drop her guard when she was facing an enemy that still had the strength to fight. He further added that there could be only one commander in a squad. Donger almost started crying and called him an irritating guy. Kaitu wanted Donger to leave everything on him as was confident to blast all the opponents' heads one by one. Meanwhile, there were talks going around in the Sun Moon Squad that the Tang Sect had actually done a switch. The person their captain had appointed to join the next battle was someone who could easily handle Donger according to them. He also called Yuhao a sly man and was very frustrated the whole time. The third game of the individual elimination battle round was about to start. A member called Xiaoping was representing the Sun Moon Royal Soul Guide Master Academy, and he Kaitu joined the Tang Sect. Before the match started, the chief referee announced that if anyone would dare to violate the rules during the game, he had the right to punish that individual. The match had begun. Kaitu took out his weapon that was a gun from which blue laser light was coming out, and Ping took out a long stick with sharp end as his weapon. Kaitu targeted right above Ping, and a blue spider web was formed over him, but Ping destroyed it with his armor-type thrusting soul tool. He was hiding a soul tool under the armor that enhanced the change of direction from different angles. Kai-Tu found that move very flexible. Ping screamed and threw the spiderweb on Kai-Tu. He asked why he was screaming. He then took out a giant gun that was throwing fire even before targeting. The chief referee wondered what kind of soul tool it was, as he had never seen one before. Kai-Tu attacked him, but it did not affect Ping even the slightest. He wondered if there was a 7th level soul shield that was protecting him. Later he realized that Ping had probably taken advantage of the resonance created by the soul tool, and he must be putting many layers of the armor together in order to boost defense power to the 7th level of Soul Sage. With that 7th rank soul shield, Kai-Tu's attack would be completely ineffective. Ping started to attack him through his shield, and it seemed that the match would be over soon according to the chief referee. But the situation changed completely in the blink of an eye when Kai-Tu used his Puncture Bullet soul tool. To be exact, the Puncture Bullet soul tool was just a ray-type soul tool. However, because of its overwhelming offensive capability, it was referred to as a bullet. Puncture bullets could not either automatically aim or follow the targets, and it also consumed a lot of soul power. But the puncture bullet, with such a multitude of shortcomings, had only one strong point, and that was its overwhelming offensive capability. People who faced it had no choice but to run as fast as possible for their lives. The chief was worried if Ping would be able to avoid it. He thought if he should stop the battle right away and announce that the Sun Moon Squad had surrendered. Ping realized it much later that it was a puncture bullet, and he had to move away, but it was too late as he was not able to move at all. He then saw that the needle was already thrusted inside his body. His captain shouted at him to move away, but he already fell on the ground. The needle was a soul tool too, and Ping had violated the game rules, so according to it, he deserved to die. Kai-Tu had not even told Yu Hao about his real identity and background, because he didn't want to cause trouble for him. In reality, Kai-Tu belonged to the Sun Moon Empire's royalty. Yu Hao decided that for the next match of the individual elimination battle, the Tang sect would surrender, and they would choose to directly enter the team battle. But the chief announced that the individual elimination battle was over, and both parties could rest and regain their strength, and after the resting period, the next team battle would commence. Tang sect would need 3 points, and the Sun Moon Squad would need 7 points to win the match. One of the members from Sun Moon Squad wondered about Yu Hao's power, and thought how he was not stopped even with the invincible shield. The disguised prince was curious if the Tang sect could win the match. The Sun Moon Squad member responded that he believed in his members, and they wouldn't let the Tang sect people go back alive, and they would either surrender or die. As they started heading towards the arena in the form of a team, Yu Hao asked Donger to stay with him and protect him. For that team battle, he requested everyone to follow his spiritual detection to commence the fight, and not only had they to win, but they also had to avoid any kind of injury at all cost. It was not only a competition, but it was more like a life and death match, and just one mistake would hurt them very badly, and they could even die from it. As soon as both teams arrived at the arena, the captain of the Sun Moon Squad announced to surrender. The chief asked him if he was sure about it, but he did not change his statement. The chief announced that the Sun Moon Imperial Soul Engineering Academy had surrendered, and in that match the Tang sect had won. The prince considered it as a good capability, and addressed Hongchen Hallmaster that his grandson had made a lot of progress. He responded by calling him His Majesty, that they had humiliated the Empire, and asked to punish them all. He thought that the prince would get angry, but he kept quiet. One of the other members from the Sun Moon Squad stated that one round robin had just begun, and asked the Grand Master about the power unleashed by Yu Hao earlier. The other told him that it would be a spiritual type of power that was a mutation of the third eye. He further added to it that Yu Hao's soul skill was very strong, so he was afraid that no one on the same level could beat him. He also believed that Hongchen's grandson also had no way to deal with that skill, so he had chosen to preserve his capabilities, and there would always be an opportunity for revenge. Yu Hao knew that the Sun Moon Squad was more difficult to deal with. Sanshi already wanted to take that chance to annihilate them all, but they were scared out of their wits. Nanan commented that she didn't think that they were afraid, and told them to look at Xiao Hongchen's eyes, and said that there was no fear in them. She also reminded them not to forget that 5 years ago, the siblings had already become Soul Kings. Later that evening, when they were leaving for the hotel, Choir came to Yu Hao and informed him that Shrek Academy didn't need his help, as she could also beat them herself. He responded to her that he didn't intend to help them, and they were just trying to help themselves. The Tang sect had won that match, so they also had to do their best. She walked away without saying a word to him. She thought if he had done it for her, but then wondered what she was thinking. Yu Hao and Donger reached back to the hotel. Donger started yelling at him that she won't allow him to use that icy power again, saying that she didn't like him like that. He tried to explain to her that it was just for the battle. He then wanted to check the wound on her back, as the life gold in his blood was the best medicine. While he was healing her wound, she asked him why he was not saying anything the entire time. She turned around and looked at him and queried about the look on his face. He responded that he was looking at the most beautiful thing in the world. She questioned if she was pretty, and he responded with a yes. She then said that his punishment for that day was to sleep on the floor. He got worried, asking what was wrong, and mentioned that she had been so gentle with him the whole time.